If you would like to configure the individual properties of a given device or assign submodules to that device, you'll need to go to the device editor, also known as the device view. To get there from the network view, simply double-click on a device. The device view gives us a graphical overview of that one device. It's here where I can get an overview of the device itself and all of its submodules. I can access the properties of this device by clicking on it, and then down here in the inspector window, I can view all of its properties. I can do this as well for its submodules. So, if I wanted to change the properties of my PLC, I can click on my PLC, go to Properties in the inspector window, and then click on the General tab. It's from here, if I wanted to do something such as change the watchdog timer, I can click on Cycle and change it. I can also click on, say, my Profinet ports, and then go down here to Ethernet addresses and change the IP address from this view as well. I can access the properties for my submodules as well. So for instance, if I wanted to change this analog input so that it measures based on a 2-wire sensor, I can go down here to my inputs, select the channel I want to change, and then say 2-wire transducer. I can also adjust the range, add smoothing, and so forth. All of these submodules have I/O addresses associated with them. I can change those addresses by going here to I/O addresses and entering a new start address. Alternatively, I can go here to device data and I can change my starting and ending addresses for all my devices. For instance, if I wanted to change this analog input address from 16 to something a little higher, let's say 160, I can type in the starting address. It will say, hey, you have tags associated with them. Do you want to rewire the rest of those tags so they all refer to the same address? And in most cases, you do. So you would say rewire with new module addresses and press OK. It automatically fills in the ending address based on how much memory this module requires. Now, if I want to view what those tags are, I can click on my I/O tags tab and I get an overview of all my tags. Therefore, if I want to know where, say, RedPod is located on my I/O module, I know it's going to be on channel 2. Starting at the top, the first one is channel 0, channel 1, channel 2. If I need to rename any of my I/O tags, all I need to do is double click on them and make my changes. This will rename the tag project-wide. So anywhere I use RedPod in my PLC code, it now becomes RedPod 2. If I want to add a tag, simply just find a channel you would like to put it on and give it a name. Now I can use that tag throughout my project, and it's going to refer to this module at address 24. Some modules will not display the I/O tags. These are going to be your specialty modules. So to figure out how things are addressed there, it's best to look at the manual. To find the manual, you can put your cursor over the module and then click on this down arrow. When you click on this hyperlink, it will bring you to the help. From there, you can click on this additional hyperlink, and so long as you got an internet connection, it will take you to the Siemens support website. Now here you'll find everything about that module. This will include manuals and firmware upgrades and certificates and so forth. So here I would want to click on manual and then scroll down to the bottom, and I'll find my PDF manual for that one module. Now let's say I wanted to add in a submodule to this rack. To do so, I can go over to my hardware catalog and find the submodule that I want. So for instance, if I wanted to add in a 8-point digital input card, I can single click on it. Again, the information below is populated with the name and description, and I get the ability to adjust the firmware version. To add it to my rack, what I want to do is I want to move my server module back one. This is basically your terminating resistor for your rack, and then drag it in to the rack. From here, you can see I can edit my I/O tags or adjust the properties of this module. It's important to note that with ET200SPIO, you can assign what are called potential groups. A potential group describes how the modules will share the 24-volt supply. A gray module will use the 24 volts from the module to the left of them until you get to the white module, and this is where you will feed in your 24 volts. It's very important that at the machine the terminal configuration matches what it is in the software. Therefore, if you need to change one of these terminals, you can click on the module, select potential group, and then click on enable new potential group to make the terminal white, or use terminal group of the left module to make it a darker color. So for instance, if I have this configuration, it means that these two will share the same 24 volt supply with it being fed into the counter module, and these two will share a separate 24 volt supply with the 24 volts being fed into the analog input module. To edit the configuration of a different device, simply click on the Network View tab here, and then double-click on a different device. This will bring us to the device view for what we selected. You can quickly go between devices by clicking on the drop-down menu here and selecting a new device. In later videos, we're going to show you what it looks like when you go online with a device in this view. We'll get back the diagnostic information for not only our PLC, but also our I/O modules. In the next part, we're going to cover the PLC code editor.